All I see is like smoke coming from behind the castle.
It's time for 2 finger point.
I'll never ride the ride the same way again.
Get your mouse ears ready.
We're keeping the people of Vista Way safe.
You're welcome.
Here are your hosts, Amber, Kylie, and Nicole.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amber. I did the Disney College program in 2014. I worked in quick service in Magic Kingdom Tomorrowland, and I live in California.
I'm Kylie. I did the Disney College program doing outdoor food and beverage at Hollywood Studios, and I currently live in Arizona.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I also did the Disney College program in 2014. I did outdoor vending at Hollywood Studios and Typhoon Lagoon. I went to school at SUNY Oswego, and I currently live in Rochester, New York.
We all met in the Disney College program, so we all decided to start a podcast to share our love of Disney and reminisce on our time there. So just for some context, I actually shared a bedroom with Amber. That's how we met. And then I worked with Nicole. So we all got to meet through me, essentially. Yeah, we're almost 10 years later, still all really good friends.
I can't believe it's been a decade already almost.
I know, it's crazy.
Okay. Are we ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
So have you guys seen the new trailer for The Little Mermaid?
I did. It looked really good.
It does, right? It's just like, I don't know, the cinematography is like beautiful.
People are like getting mad because it's like the way that they did it is like really dark and stuff. And so like it's like kind of hard to see. And I'm like, it's underwater.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it puts a good perspective on it, I think.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what reviews people start posting about it as it gets released.
What's the release date on it again?
May 23rd, I think.
Oh, that's coming up
Let
fast.
me look. May 26th.
Oh, that's coming up quick. Yeah, there's a really good cast, so I'm really excited to see how this all comes together.
Yeah, it's going to be really, I think that one's going to be good. Sometimes they're hit or miss, but I'm excited.
Speaking of Little Mermaid, Kylie, remember when we went on that Little Mermaid ride?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, that's a story to tell. Do you want to tell it, Nicole?
No, I think you do a better job, to be honest.
Okay. I really don't have any other memory of that day besides this ride and like going on the teacups. So I don't know if we were there all day or just like a couple hours or what, but it was Nicole, myself, and 2 of our other friends, Josh and Kevin. We went to Magic Kingdom and we decided to ride on the Little Mermaid ride. And I have to go to the bathroom really bad, but we're about to get on the ride. So I'm like, okay, I'll just hold it and go right after. So we all decide we want to ride on the same clam. The problem is they fit like a max of 3 people, but there's 4 of us. And we decide to make it work. Nicole sits in my lap, and the cast member kind of just was annoyed with us, but let us do it anyway. So we're just like being stupid kids and laughing a ton. And we decided to start like taking a picture of us in the clamshell because it's really funny that we're all like crammed in this thing. And so Josh is on the end and he's super tall, so he's got a really long arm. And so he's trying to take a picture of us. And we've got one. We'll put it on our Instagram account so you guys can see how bad this photo is. But we love this photo because it's with this memory. But we get to a point where we're trying to get a nice picture, and he turns to the lady who's in the next clamshell over and hands her his phone and says, "Will you take a picture of us?" And she gives us this deep glare, like she's so annoyed, but she takes the phone anyway. And right as she lifts up the phone, our clams turn. So our back is to her now, and she's got his phone, and Josh starts freaking out. And the rest of us are laughing so hard. And mind you, I have to go to the bathroom and Nicole is on my lap. So I really have to pee and I am holding it with every muscle I possibly can not to pee on Nicole. But we just cannot stop laughing either. And so it was hilarious. And as soon as the ride gets off, Josh runs to that lady and I run to the bathroom.
So that lady had Josh's phone the entire ride.
It was so funny.
God. I'll never ride the ride the same way again, like after the story, like knowing it. It's just, I can't ever ride the ride the same.
Either that or you won't ever ask somebody to take your picture.
A lesson learned, truly. A lesson I didn't even know I needed.
Like the ride's just innocent, like trying to tell us the story here. And we're just causing chaos.
Yeah, and the whole
Typical
time the
classmate.
ride is going, we're trying to figure out if it's possible if we could get this phone while the ride is going. But the clams are straight in line behind each other. So there's no way we can get this phone until the ride is done.
Typical chaotic castmates on their days off.
Seriously.
And moral of the story is we never got that second picture.
No. We did not
From that
get
point of view.
We got a selfie.
This is why Disney makes us pay for PhotoPass, guys. At least they give us a decent picture. Oh, that's
But
funny.
I think there was one time during fireworks at Magic Kingdom where one of the fireworks fell down onto the Little Mermaid ride and it caught fire.
Wait, this is why
I
we
don't
were
know.
there?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that.
I feel like
No.
I vaguely remember some like chaos happening during the fireworks, but I guess I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, one of the fireworks apparently, after it bursted, it fell down and went onto the ride. And smoke was coming from the ride itself, and they had to close it down for a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Like on the track or like on the building?
I have no idea. I was watching the actual fireworks in front of the
I'm gonna Google
castle.
this.
So all I see is like smoke coming from behind the castle. And then the next day I see there was like an announcement. Oh, sorry, the firework fell on the ride causing smoke. It's like, oh, I was enjoying those fireworks.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Googling this because that's crazy. And what?
I mean, if you think about it, the things with fireworks happen all the time.
That's true.
That's true.
PTSD of the fireworks. I worked in Tomorrowland, and where I worked, we were Tomorrowland Terrace, and we would sometimes have dessert party where we served during the fireworks. So everyone would come and they'd sit down and they'd have teas, coffees, and these little mini desserts, and we would serve them. And they got to watch the fireworks because we were an open restaurant. There was we were all outdoors, just covered on the top, so you could see everything out.
How did you like doing that? Was it like fun because you could watch the fireworks, or was it like, oh, here we go again?
Honestly, it was fun because as a Disney College program participant, you didn't get to do dessert party that often. That was kind of reserved for more of like the seasonal, more the full-time employees. So when you got to do that, it was kind of like a treat because you had basically like the set shitty hours being like the college program participant. So while this was like, it kind of sucked because you did work late because the restaurant was already closed and everything, it was fun because, yeah, you did get to watch the fireworks. And then on top of it, whatever the guests don't eat as far as desserts go, you got to eat afterwards. So we chowed down on some good ass sweets afterwards.
That's awesome. What kind of stuff did you have?
They had it was like shooters of everything. So they'd have like a parfait that was like key lime. They had little like cakes and parfaits, like little mini cookies. There was like an espresso, like tiramisu thing I tried one time. I have a picture of it actually. We'll post it up too of like the little mini desserts I tried. But yeah, that was really exciting. So that was like the cool part about it. That was the perks of working in like quick service food was like whenever new food came out, they gave you a chance to taste test it because you had like if anyone came up and they were like, oh, what does this taste like? Does it have an allergy? Blah, blah, blah. You had to be able to tell them what it tasted like if the kids wanted to know. So
Wow. What a tough job.
no, it's so hard.
So when you worked that, what time did you usually get back to? Did you say you stayed at Vista Way?
Oh yeah, Vista Way, aka Vista Way. Yeah, so I'm trying to think. So I can't remember exactly when I would get home, but yeah, that was a late night for me because we would have to wait until the fireworks were done, and then we would serve them still if they still wanted coffee and stuff afterwards. Another service, and then after that, it was cleaning everything up and washing all the dishes and all that crap, and then you could finally go home. So it was like, it wasn't just like when the fireworks ended at what, like 10 p.m. or whatever, like you go home. It's like you don't get to leave until like 11:30, 12 because you've got to clean up afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Late shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you bring a car down with you, or did you take the bus for your Disney College program?
I luckily and fortunately brought a car. Not everyone was so lucky, but at the same time, having a car was not so great, but I did have one. Kylie, you had one.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like it's a curse. But one time, actually, I was giving Nicole a ride home because you lived in Vista, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember now. I was giving her a ride home after work, but I left my lights on because it rained that day, and I left my lights on. So when we came out, my car was dead, and she actually called one of her roommates to come help us. And I had a V6 Mustang, so unfortunately, her little Honda Civic couldn't charge. But security ended up calling AAA, and we got a proper charge. But I was very thankful that your roommate was willing to come out and try to help a person she had no idea who I was, but she still came out to help.
I did not have a car. I rode down with my roommate. So I was one of those people that had to take the bus probably about 30% of the time, more in the beginning of the program, because after a while, my friends were like, oh, you poor thing, don't take the bus. We'll drive you home, or we'll drive you to get groceries. Because getting on the bus and then going to Walmart, for example, and having 6 or 7 bags while you're trying to hold on the bus is not ideal. It was horrible. So if you can bring a car, I feel like,
oh my gosh,
it's awesome.
Those buses were a mess. I can't imagine having groceries on it.
That's what I'm thinking. And side note, do we not remember when one of those buses caught on fire on the side of the freeway? That was fun. That was fun.
Oh, now that you say that, I do remember that.
Yeah, it was just a headline.
Good old Transtar.
I mean, the only cool thing about the bus was when you get on the bus, everybody from Vista or wherever you're stopped at gets on. So you see people with all these ridiculous outfits on this bus, and you're just wondering, like, okay, what is your job? Because you look like a clown in your outfit.
Yes.
True.
I remember having those thoughts because we were broke, so I couldn't afford gas half the time. And so I would ride the bus. And it's like any average Joe that doesn't work for Disney would get on this bus and be like, what is going on?
So true. Oh my God. Yeah, that was the thing, right? It was like, it was the luxury to have a car, but we also couldn't afford to drive it. So you ended up riding the bus with everybody else. And you know, the crazy part was, like, you would think you would get leniency from Disney from if the bus was late because it broke down or whatever. And they didn't care. They were like, it doesn't matter how you get here. If you're late, you're late. So like if the bus just caught on fire like it did, they're like, oh, well, you're late.
That's a point.
Like,
yes. The point system. Oh my gosh. Does someone want to explain the point system?
I barely remember the point system at this point. I just remember it's like, what, you could only be late like twice and then they were extra pissed at you.
Mm-hmm. I had such bad anxiety that whenever I heard like points and the possibility of like getting kicked out, because I was earning 12 credits for my school, I was like, I have to get there on time and I have to like not get kicked out. So from my experience, I didn't get any points. So I don't really know that much of the process, but Kylie, did you have an experience with the points?
We got half a point, didn't we?
Who, us?
Didn't we get half a point for what happened in our apartment?
I don't think so.
You got points for your apartment too?
Well, no, because we were late that day, remember? Because we had to sit down for mediation. So we got a point for that, or half a point or something, right?
I don't think so. It wasn't you and I that were late.
Well, no, we were late because remember we had to sit for mediation because
we were late for work.
Yeah.
No. They had like called and said
Like they're not coming.
Yeah, it was. That's a whole story.
Should we
we'll
dive
get into that
into
later.
why you had a mediation?
I mean, it's a whole thing. We're gonna
We
have
can
to
make
break
a
down.
whole episode off of that.
Yeah,
No, so the points, I think you could get them for being late or calling out. No, actually, I don't think you got them for calling out because calling out was super lenient. Also, what I got it for was cash handling mishaps, which was very weird how I got them, but I only would get them in Phantasmic and it'd be like 22 cents. And so I'd get a quarter of a point, but the points wiped clean. I can't remember how often, if it was like 2 weeks or 4 weeks, but every so often your slate would be wiped clean. So it's not like your balance remained for your whole program. And then if you got 4 points with, I think it was 2 weeks, if you had gotten 4 points within 2 weeks, then there were consequences. But I only got like a quarter of a point. That was like my highest balance. And it was for my drawer being off by 22 cents.
lame.
Yeah. But they were like chill about it. They're like, yeah, you're just gonna get a quarter point.
Your point was worth more than how much you were short.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's
Pretty
like,
much.
we're going to give you a quarter point for being short 22 cents.
There was like a range because I remember there was a paper that said like this amount to this amount. And it was a high amount, probably like $5, like $0 to $5 was a quarter point or something. So I like barely qualified.
I just feel like that's crazy for such a big company though.
Yeah.
Because for
Yeah.
background, I worked at McDonald's, and as long as your drawer was short $10, that was when you got like a warning.
Oh wow.
$10. But
That was
here's
the
Disney
same-
giving you a quarter point for 22 cents.
It was weird that they were like 22 cents we're marking you for this.
So Disney. That's so Disney.
That's so Disney.
No, I mean, I remember the only thing that I was mainly concerned about, and I didn't even know why I was concerned about this, was having alcohol. I guess the thing was having alcohol around minors. Like I was always worried that somebody was going to lie about being under 21 and I was just going to get in a situation where I was going to get termed because I was drinking and there were people that were under 21. Because that was like the biggest thing was like, if you had alcohol and you were above 21, you had to know who was around you because they were going to term you. They didn't care. So that was like, I was like, I'm not going to party too much around all these people because I know like 90% of you are like 18 and I'm 22. So at the
Yeah,
time.
that happened. That was a problem with our apartment because there were 6 of us, and out of the 6, 2 of us were 21.
So
Yeah.
you were in a dry apartment.
Mm-hmm. And then we
Oh.
eventually had to move because an incident happened where 2 of our roommates actually got termed for getting caught being underage drinking.
Yikes.
And I, like I said, was taking this for college credits. And if I got termed, that put me behind a semester. So I was not jeopardizing anything.
The first week I remember was so crazy. People were literally getting termed left and right because these 18-year-olds didn't understand like what rules were. And they were like, screw it, we're going to go drink. And they would bring like bottles back and they would get caught because there were people like us who understood like we're here for like legit reasons like college credits. You guys are here just to have a good time and that's fine. But like, we're trying to get something out of this too.
It was wild. And it was such a different experience for us being as old as we were because you and I, Amber, were 22 and
Yeah.
Nicole was 21. And so we had gotten out into the real world for a little bit. Obviously, we're still super young, but we had a little more experience under our belts than an 18-year-old fresh out of high school who's never been in the real world, doesn't have any debt, or, you know, this is like their first job for a lot of them and their first time being exposed to that freedom. It was crazy seeing some of them run wild. You see them
I
at work and then
know.
you see them, you know, at the bar down the street and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're just like, how old are you?
Yeah.
It was wild. Yeah. And also just seeing the difference between the people you worked with too, like you just said, like even the ones that were like 21 and above, you'd see them being all nice and proper at work. And then you see them getting like rowdy over at like House of Blues on a Wednesday. And you're like, this is intense.
Yeah. And then you just hear stories like, oh, so-and-so was making out with this 30-year-old guy at El Señor Frogs last night. And you're like, that girl?
Right. And you're like, this one, the sweet little girl over there.
But I mean,
Well,
I saw it firsthand.
it doesn't help that we all stayed at Vista Way, which
Yeah.
is known as Vista Lay.
Vista Way.
But you know what was weird was Vista Way was like where all the 18-year-olds congregated. And how did we as like the older, college participants get stuck with them? I felt like a lot of the people who were my age got into like Chatham and the other nicer, quieter ones. Whereas like for some reason I just got stuck there. They were like, it was like a last afterthought. They were like, we'll just stick her there. That's fine.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They had us rank them all. Like,
Yeah.
I
where
was
we
just
wanted
about to say
live.
that.
And Vista was dead last for me because I had read online what it was like. And I was like, I'll pay a little bit more. I wanted to go to Chatham. And then I was even, if I had to, I would pay triple digit to live in Patterson or the Commons because I did not want to live in the Disney ghetto.
Yeah,
So I think it was everybody who got there early because we all got emails the night before. If your name is in between this letter and this letter, you're coming at this time.
But still, if they were going towards the beginning of the list, then you would think maybe they would go towards my first and second choice. But yeah, Vista was my last choice.
I don't get I don't get what their system was. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like people showed up whenever they felt like, and I was kind of like, I'm pretty sure I drove right up. Like I drove in to Vista, like I was coming in already and I was like, oh, I'll get there right at the time I'm supposed to be there. So it's like, I literally drove into Florida and was like, okay, time to get there.
I got there the night before. So I stayed at the Sheraton down the street and drove in, and I could have easily been there at 7 a.m. when they started.
Yeah.
But I was instructed not to. So I came when I was told to.
Yeah, and it was Disney. I was like, okay, well, they're a big corporation. They seem to know what's going on. I'm not going to, question that. I'll show up when they tell me to. But apparently all these 18-year-olds were like, we're going to do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, and then in Vista, you had some apartments where it was 6 people, and then you had some that were 4 people.
Wait, there were 4 bedrooms?
Like
4 people bedrooms?
No, it was 2
bedrooms.
So like 2 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. So 4 people in one apartment. And then you had one that was 3 bedrooms that was 6 people total.
And those had a bathroom per 2 people, unlike ours where we had 2 people got to share one bathroom and then 4 got to share one bathroom. We got that lovely luxury.
That was disgusting, first of all. Absolutely disgusting.
We can do a whole episode on that too.
Yeah, because I've got stories. I'm still offended. I'm like going back and being offended to things that I was offended before for.
Good times.
Yeah.
But at least Vista was the cheapest. That was the only good thing. It gave us a little bit more money in our pockets, but not much considering how much we were paid as a Disney college program intern.
I think Chatham was only like $6 more though.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's was it per week?
It was per week.
Yeah. So I guess it was 24 more a month, but still that's worth it.
Nothing. Which was the one that had the washer dryers? Was that Chatham or was that Patterson?
I think all of them, because I know Chatham did, but that was the second luxury. So I'd assume Patterson and the Commons had their own too.
I thought one of them didn't. Like I thought it was like 2 and 2. Like I thought there was one other one that didn't have washers in their room or in their like apartment.
Oh,
because it wasn't just Vista. Maybe it was the Commons.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember. It's been so long. I bet they all have them in their apartments now, which is like garbage.
Speaking of laundry, I was going through old photos from Disney a couple weeks ago, and it's funny because I was looking at them with my husband and I was making him go through them all, and I came across this note. And just for some background on how I obtained this note, so at Vista, we had, 3 floors, 4 apartments per floor, so 12 per building. And we got, 2 washers and dryers per building or 3?
It was like 2 or 3.
Okay, and mind you, these 12 apartments have 6 people each, so we've got 3 washer and dryers for 72 people. And then some people would come from different buildings and use them too. So somebody had left their laundry and I needed I had stuff to do and I needed to get my laundry done. And they just left it there all day. So I was so kind to pay for them to dry it. And I left them a note saying, like, I hope I don't mess up your laundry, but I need to use it. So I just paid for it, pay it forward. And they left me a great note in response. I need to find it really fast and read it.
Honestly, still one of my faves. It's just so classic college program, because I'll let her show it and share it, but just the way that it all went down, it's just, you can see how people from different areas and different all over the, age and all over the country just come together, because this person just felt so entitled to speak the way they did. And it was kind of like, why? Like, why are you acting like this? We're all the same here. Like, take that somewhere else.
Yeah, you saved them some money by paying for them to dry their clothes.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't too much money, but for me, it was a fortune.
I wish I would have taken more pictures.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
I have so many. I'm going through them right now, trying to find that one.
I swear you sent it to me.
I Snapchatted a video
that's what it
while I
was.
was reading it, because Nicholas was also commenting on their mistakes that I'll get into when I read it.
He's just picking out the grammatical errors. He's not picking out.
But that's the thing. Like, once I read it, you'll see why that's a problem, that there were grammatical errors.
Oh. And these are college students.
Yes.
Yeah, mind you.
And they let me know what their major was, too.
I was just going to say, I wasn't going to give that away. I was just about to say it, because I was like, spelling is on point, too.
I'll find it.
Yeah, we'll just post it up so they can see, but you can tell them like kind of an idea of like what happened.
Yeah, so I'll find it and we'll put it online. But so this person said, thank you so much for your gesture. However, as an English major, I have to tell you that your use of, what was it? Do you remember, Amber, what?
Whom and whoever.
Oh yeah, because I said to whom it concerns. And so they said they were explaining the use of whom and who. But now that because Nicholas was saying like, oh, it's actually wrong what they're saying. So they were wrong in correcting me. And then they also misspelled the word despite.
Badly. To the point where it was like confusing how they spelled it so wrong, I feel.
So it was so rude, and like this much of it, like 2 sentences were thanking me for my gesture, and then I got like a whole essay on my English. Like, I just paid for your laundry, bro.
If only she had that much time to actually take her laundry out.
Yeah,
the first place.
Exactly. So
like we wouldn't have been in this situation if you just took care of your laundry.
Yeah.
We all could have saved time here. You didn't have to write this note. I didn't have to write mine, and we'd all be good.
Right, exactly. But like, no thanks, but no thanks for your English lesson here.
Just like they felt like they had to say something. Whoever they were, they felt like they had to. So somebody must have peed in their Cheerios that morning. Like,
apparently. Yeah, so that's another example of Vista Way for you.
that's what I'm saying. That place was a disaster. I don't even know how we survived there half the time.
I just remember the pond with like the birds and I don't even know what those things were called, but they were nasty.
We backed up to that pond. We were like right behind it or right in front of it, and there were constantly just like bugs everywhere. It was so nasty. Something died in there.
Our shoes are in that pond.
Oh wait, that is one picture I do have, is a picture of me getting ready to throw my shoes.
So why?
Wait, why? Oh yeah, so
it was like our thing as like people self-terming. We just decided to make it a tradition between the 2 of us.
Yeah, we decided the name of the lake was Lake Vista. That's what we named it. And so we decided to have a ceremonial throwing of the Disney required non-slip shoes into Lake Vista. which we noticed people had already kind of done it in the past. Like you saw shoes like washed up on the shore of it. And so we were like, well, we backed up to this. This is a good idea. And why not? It was our one rebellious thing because we were already leaving. So it was like Disney couldn't do anything to us at this point. We weren't really doing anything that bad. So it's like that was our one like act of rebel against Disney.
If anything, we're doing a favor because we're preventing alligators from going in there, right? Because it's just filled with shoes. They're not going to go in there. So we're keeping the people of Vista Way safe.
You're welcome. Dang, if only I knew of that tradition. But I lived like on the other side of Vista. I had to like walk towards you guys.
Yeah.
They put us in the back. We were like in the back. We were like next to the freeway with a lake next to us on the other side. We were like, we were the degenerates in the back. They were like, throw them back there.
Ours was like more towards the front left. I think we were like a couple buildings down on the left.
Oh, see, that's nice. To get to anything in Vista, we had to walk like 10 to 15 minutes. The gym in the middle, like, yeah, forget it. Took, and the clubhouse, when you had to get packages, it was like, you might as well drive. That's how far we were.
I don't remember. Did we have to pay for our costumes too?
If you lost part of it.
I remember that being an issue with my roommates.
They lost their costumes?
Like just a piece of it, not the whole thing. So like their hat.
I think that was, I think like a hat or socks were like $5.
Yeah.
And then
150 socks, I remember, because I had to socks were like 150. It was something ridiculous because the socks were plain white, or at least the ones for mine were. And so they wanted to like deter people from just taking these really thick socks. And so they would make it like a ridiculous amount so that if they didn't have it, it was like, it was stupid. It was dumb.
Wow.
$150.
That's insane.
For a pair of socks.
I almost took something because I was like, I wanted to take something in like memorandum of like working for Disney. And I had plenty of other things, but I was like, just my costume. And I was like, I'm not getting fined for something ridiculous like this.
Do you still have your name tag, Amber?
Yes.
Oh, we're going to have to wear our name tags one episode.
I got to go find it, but I have it for sure. I know I do.
I feel like that's something everyone has to keep for their whole life.
100%. I couldn't part with that. I was like, because that's the one thing that like really shows you worked at Disney, right? Like that was the one thing. So
yeah. Although now I'm seeing all over social media, you can order stuff. Like I've seen people with plaques that are in the shape of the name tags with their names. I'm like, hey, that's a privilege we worked for. Not everyone should have that.
Yeah. Did you keep your, it's another thing I kept. It's like of the 2 or 3 things I kept my little cast member blue card too. And it says like your name, and it says like when it expired, and I have to go dig it up, but I have that too.
I have one of them. I know since I self-termed hot tea right there, but I had to give up. There were 2 cards and I had to give one of them to the guard when I left.
That was our housing card, because I had to do that too. Okay, that was the one that had our picture on it.
Okay, then I should have my blue one still.
You should have, I mean, technically we had 2. We had like our guest, or a thing that like let us in the door, and then we had like our employee pass that let us into Disney to work, like our cast member ID or whatever.
That was the blue one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I still have that one. I just know I had to give them one of them.
I know, because I really wanted to keep that housing one, because I don't know, something about it, and they're like, no, we got to take it from you. I was like,
Amber, you wanted to keep everything.
I really did. I'm sorry. I'm such a hoarder.
It's a once in a lifetime thing, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm straight up a hoarder, though. I'm sorry.
She's like, and I wanted to keep that.
Yeah,
and I wanted to keep that.
And what about that wrapper in the corner? We ate like cookies one time. I should keep that.
All right. So we're going to get into the first ever game on our podcast. So the first game I've come up with is called Bad Descriptions. So I'm going to give you a bad description of a movie, a Disney movie, and you guys are going to guess which one. And we're going to take turns, and whoever gets the most points wins. And I ran these by my husband, who's not a Disney nerd like us. And he got some and he did not get some. So I feel it's going to be a good balance. So they're not going to be too easy or too hard. All right. So, first one we'll give to Nicole.
Oh man.
All right. So, a thug walks into fortune, but his crush loves him for who he was before.
Aladdin?
It is Aladdin. You got it.
The hesitation was real.
All right, Amber. Yours now is a stranger befriends and kidnaps kids from their home.
Oh. Peter Pan.
Correct. All right. Next, a girl who doesn't want to be like the other girls runs away.
I don't know. I'm thinking about Cinderella, but I don't think I'm right.
That is
Yep.
wrong. Amber,
Go
do you
ahead.
know it?
Amber for the steal.
Mulan?
It is Mulan.
Oh, yeah. Dang, I forgot. How could I forget about Mulan?
What a queen.
Right?
All right. So, Amber, a boy who doesn't identify with his body assignment.
Oh.
Do 10 seconds and then Nicole can steal.
The only thing I can think of that doesn't make any sense is the Emperor's New Groove because he turns into a donkey.
That is true, but that is
know that's wrong.
incorrect. And he turns into a llama, not a donkey.
Oh, llama.
But Nicole, do you have an idea?
I think it's Pinocchio.
It is Pinocchio, which is kind of funny you said donkey, Amber, because Pinocchio turns into a donkey.
Oh.
All right, so we are tied still. So
Dang.
still 2 for 2. You guys stole each other's. All right, so
I got you, Amber, and you got me.
I know, right?
the next one is for Nicole. A girl alters her body for the attention of a boy.
A Little Mermaid.
It is a Little Mermaid. So you got that one. All right, and
These are tough.
Amber,
Right? These are harder than I thought. Like, dang.
to qualify for the tiebreaker, Amber.
Oh no.
A country boy and a science nerd form an unlikely friendship.
Why don't I know this?
I don't know this either.
Gotta think about this.
And a science nerd.
I'm trying to think who was into science. You look like you have it, Nicole.
No, I don't.
Is there another hint? Can we get a hint?
Right.
Okay, I'll give you a hint on what kind of science. It's
Okay.
astronomy.
That was not helpful.
Wait, can you read the thing again?
Okay, a country boy and an astronomy nerd form an unlikely friendship.
Friendship.
She might just have to give us this one.
I want to see if I can get this. I'm like determined to figure this out. So it's a friendship. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is this like Toy Story?
It is Toy Story.
What?
I don't know why it got me. I don't know what. Oh, because of Buzz
Because of
Lightyear.
Butler. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
For some reason, the first clue, I thought immediately Jimmy Neutron. Because it's science. I was like, that's not Disney. That's Nickelodeon.
I'm like thinking about the princesses. I'm like, who was a country boy in a science? I'm thinking, I kept going back to Belle. I'm like, that's not Belle. The Beast wasn't country.
Oh, that would be an interesting telling of that story.
Oh my gosh.
Country
The
boy.
spinoff.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
All right. So for the tiebreaker, just whoever first to buzz in, and you buzz in by saying your name.
Oh.
We'll do it that way. All right. A young girl lives with older men and end up getting roofied?
Oh, Amber,
Yes.
Snow White.
Correct. So Amber wins.
Those were difficult. Dang.
I was gonna say Sleeping Beauty, but I was like, she's not surrounded by men. And I was like, wait a minute.
That
When
was
did-
my first thought too.
Yeah, I'm like, when did Snow White get roofied? And I'm like, oh, the apple.
Hmm. And Aurora didn't get roofied, right? Or
No, she
drugged.
pricked
It
her
was
finger.
okay.
Yeah.
That's because I was thinking about that too. I was like, can this get confusing? All right, so that is bad descriptions.
Yay! I loved that. I want to do that
Yeah,
again.
that was fun.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Catch you next week for another Two Finger Point Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. You can connect with us on Instagram and TikTok by following Two Finger Point Podcast. That's the number 2 spelled out, TWO, Finger Point Podcast. If you'd like to hear your story, have a question, or even be a guest on the podcast, visit twofingerpointpodcast.com and click on our contact page. We'll see you next week for Two Finger Point Tuesday, but until then, have a magical day.